And there's a whole lot going on over there. Can you guys hear me? You can hear me. Okay, well, that's the fundamental. Okay. And I realized the Everyday Zen Sesshin is this week. A number of people from the Sangha are sitting, and Bruce, my husband, is sitting, and I'm sitting parts of it going in and out of it. And I realized I'm a little bit in Sesshin brain. So I just maybe that's a warning, or that's a heads up. Who knows what will come forth.
Yeah.
And
if you could make us co-host.
oh, yeah, that's important. I didn't
better.
do that.
We got it working.
Yeah, well, there you go. See, I have an excuse. It's a Sheen brain. Okay? Is that better?
Much better.
Okay. And what was I gonna say about that? Oh, I'm gonna leave right afterwards today because I'm gonna go back and I thought what a great life I have. I'm going back to do a little meditating with wildland firefighters, and then I'm going to do a little meditating with the Everyday Zen Sesshin after meditating with you guys. And I think, wow, how did this life come to be? So what I wanted to do today, because we're doing loving kindness. We're doing loving kindness. Is I have forgotten, looking on my bookshelf, I'd forgotten that I had this great book that I never really spent time with called Loving Kindness in Plain English, The Practice of Metta by Bhante Gunaratana. And he's written a number of books that he was, when I read his little about the author, he was ordained as a monk when he was 12 years old in Sri Lanka. So he's a Theravadan monk. So his language is, I really want to bring it forward because I think it's beautiful and it has a particular flavor to it. The people I've been in both Sri Lanka and in Burma, Myanmar, and the people are so kind. They're so kind, and it's rooted in, as you will soon see, in this practice of loving kindness as their primary practice. So I thought what I wanted to do was to share with you some of his language and description and experience. He now is he was a forest monk, and because that's the tradition, and he now has a forest monastery in West Virginia. In case you're ever passing through West Virginia, it would be interesting to look him up. Or my brain is, whoa. And then he has particular language that he shares about guiding us through loving kindness. And I thought I'd do that with us so that we can experience his way of expressing it. So we'll start with, he says and shares with us, this discourse, the Metta Sutta, is recited more often than any other discourse on all occasions in Theravadan Buddhist countries. This is it. This is if you practice. This is your primary practice. And here's some of his description about metta, our natural state. Loving kindness is the most common translation of the Pali word metta, and it's a major component of Buddhist practice. See, now it's really interesting. It's a major component of Theravada, but I mean, it's not of Vajrayana or of Zen. Everybody would, I mean, they'd probably say the Heart Sutra, which is the same thing. It's just very different language. It's the same heart. It's the same through line. But in Pali, it's the Metta Sutta. The teachings of the Buddha were transmitted orally from generation to generation for nearly 5 centuries, before monks in Sri Lanka wrote them down in 29 BCE in the Pali language. The word metta is derived from another word, mita, which means friend. Mita also means sun. We depend on the sun's warmth to survive, and we rely on loving friendship to thrive. Accordingly, my own preferred translation of metta is loving friendliness. That's sweet. And that's the term that he mostly will use throughout this book. Each year during his 45-year teaching career, the Buddha led a 3-month retreat during India's rainy season. Monastics from all over the country came to the Jeta Grove, which had been gifted to him by his generous supporter Anapandindika, to meditate together with the Buddha. I got to do a Buddhist pilgrimage in India, so these places all have a sense of place inside of me. On one occasion, he asked 60 monks to go. I've told you this story. I'm not sure if I did it on Tuesday or Thursday, but this is a slightly different version of the story about how the Metta Sutta came to be. So I'm going to share it again or for the first time. On one occasion, he asked 60 of the monks to go to a remote forest and practice meditations there. When the monks arrived, nearby villagers built huts for them, but the forest spirits, the story goes, weren't happy to have their lives interrupted by these men. Did I tell this story here on Tuesday?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, it's a little different. And it's always good to hear the same, because if you're like me, I hear it different every time. Instead of welcoming them, the spirits conjured ghost-like images near the footpaths and scattered corpses throughout the forest to frighten them away. See, I told you. Wow, they were just like these, get out of here, you guys. Seeing the ghosts and smelling rotten flesh. This is much more graphic. Many monks fell ill, and so they all went back to the Jeta Grove to ask the Buddha what to do. After they described their experience, the Buddha encouraged them to return to the forest. You went without a weapon, he told them. This time you'll need to be armed. That interesting language. I suppose it's all in the translation, but here we've got this one. Then he gave them, quote, a weapon. The discourse on loving friendliness, the Kariniya Metta Sutta, or Metta Sutta for short, and advised them to recite it 8 times each month. It's very prescriptive. 8 times each month. The monks went back to the forest and began reciting the Metta Sutta twice weekly. The spirits were transformed, and instead of causing trouble, they began protecting the monks from the dangers of the forest. Villagers continued to offer patronage, feeling especially appreciative of the monks' peaceful demeanors and kindness, and the practice of loving kindness offers us protection. It does. I think I told you when I've gone to a protest, quote, protest, I bring my weapon of loving kindness. I recite the loving kindness, and I feel really protected. And I did, and it's on the website under Engaged Buddhism, is the monks. It was in Burma, went through the streets chanting the Metta Sutta in the midst of a horrible dictator and a crackdown. They just clearly, when I read this now, they felt protected. They were all together chanting the Metta Sutta. It was like, okay, no matter what happened. Here he says, Metta is not ordinary love. It is the quality of love we experience in our whole being. A love that has no ulterior motive and no opposite. It can never become hatred. The love-hate dichotomy simply does not apply. This is from Joseph Goldstein, who some of you may know. He quotes a number of the Vipassana teachers, because they clearly are in communication. Joseph Goldstein says, this kind of love has many qualities that distinguish it from other more usual experiences of love mixed with a desire or attachment. Born of great generosity, metta is caring and kindness that does not seek self-benefit. It does not look for anything in return or by way of exchange. I will love you if you love me, or I will love you if you behave in a certain way, because loving kindness is never associated with anything harmful. It's never associated with anything harmful. It always arises from the purity of heart. And it's who we truly are. It's the true nature of everything. This purity of heart that allows us to feel a warm-hearted friendliness to all beings is natural to us. And when we cultivate loving friendliness, we are simply allowing our innate generosity to grow and flourish. What else would you want to do with your life? Really? So then he goes on and does a loving kindness, and I'm going to come back to that. But I wanted to, first of all, share with you. I can figure out what page it's on. Okay. There are 8 ways to cultivate loving kindness. You want to know them?
Mhm.
Oh, good. You guys want to know them? There are also, but I'm not going to tell you today, but I'll maybe tell you on Thursday or next week. There are also 11 benefits that can happen. I suppose that's to encourage you, but you don't get that today. You have to come back next time. Okay. In the numerical discourses of the Buddha, the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha lists 8 ways to cultivate loving friendliness. The first one is associating through repetition. Repetition. When we associate our minds with loving thoughts, we experience profound benefits. Affirming loving friendliness in your thoughts and deeds, not as a chore. Oh, I guess I better do my loving kindness today. But in a way you truly enjoy. It will become like second nature, and resentments and fears will slowly disappear. I really believe I've never fully taken up a loving kindness as a practice. But I also really believe that it's a very powerful practice that you can also, I mean, we live in an amazing time. We can do zazen, we can do loving kindness. You could do loving kindness as part of your zazen. You can do Tibetan visualizations if you want. You know, it's just notice if you're jumping around too much, because then you'll just be jumping around. Okay, repeat loving thoughts over and over until metta takes hold in your mind. When you practice regularly and a difficult situation arises, metta will be there to help. It's true. It's one of the reasons I wear a mala. I do these things with my mala, and my mala also really grounds me, so that when I get scared, and you know, I mean, there's garden variety scared, but I also can imagine being scared is it's right there. You don't have to think about it. It's right there, and my mala is right here. Just anyway, these things are. It's called self-preservation, if nothing else. And along the way, something else might happen. Okay, 2. Cultivation. In order to cultivate a plant, you prepare the ground by removing weeds, rocks, and roots. You fertilize the soil, then plant seeds or bulbs. And after that, you care for the tender plants until they blossom or bear fruit. Similarly, cultivate your mind to grow loving friendliness. This includes beginning to remove the obstacles that prevent it from blossoming. This is the practice of mindfulness meditation, which includes the practice of desisting from fueling the poisons of greed, anger, and delusion. So I'll just say, and I probably said before, but Thich Nhat Hanh, because of where he is in Vietnam, his tradition is Zen, but it's somehow that particular tradition arose that is both Zen. I mean, he's very, very versed and cultivated in Zen meditation, but he also, as we know, completely brings forward mindfulness meditation. So it's kind of a beautiful synthesis that he's brought to us. Mindfulness is one of the most important teachings of the Buddha. From the day he attained enlightenment until he passed away at the age of 80, in almost every teaching, the Buddha emphasized mindfulness. Why it's important to read the original teachings of the Buddha as well as Dogen. They're really different. I mean, it's the same, but they're really different, and we need them all. Buddha considered the practice of metta as equal to that of mindfulness, and we recognize how highly he regarded it. Okay, number 3, amplification. As your loving kindness grows, it becomes more stable. We're really getting to notice how easily we're knocked off base. And we come back. That's what practice is. And loving kindness is, well, we'll get to that, is ground. You may find that even when somebody is very upset with you, you can still maintain your composure. You can remain calm and cool if you are practicing metta. 4, vehicle. The Pali word for vehicle, jnana, is used to describe ways of practice or schools of study. If we carry forth this imagery that the Buddha used, which is also in the Lotus Sutra, we may remember, see metta as your mode of transport, as your vehicle for encountering your life and all beings. You could probably do some great visualizations or drawings if you had, you could just have your little loving kindness vehicle. We repeat it in our minds until it becomes a habit. When metta reaches the point of becoming a habit or a reflex, we can rely on it to bring us peace and happiness, whether sitting, standing, walking, or lying down. That's the Metta Sutta, right? It's just there. We no longer need to make an effort. 5, ground. Here's ground. Make metta practice the ground for growing happiness and cultivating concentration. Make metta a basis for wholesome thoughts, words, and deeds. Let metta, loving kindness, be the foundation of generosity, morality, and sharing. Let it become the very ground on which you stand. The ground represents steadiness. It's what we come back to. And of course, when you practice and notice that, you're also going to notice how you get off base and where your habitual pattern is, that you go to resentment or you go to fear, or and it's just a practice. Bring yourself back. We're going to practice it in a minute. Number 6, experience. Metta is not a philosophy or a theory. It is an experience based on your practice. Through consistent and sustained practice, it becomes your own direct experience. Bring loving kindness into your daily life. Experience it in your heart and mind. This is of utmost importance. Whatever comes from your heart affects people deeply. You can feel, I remember going into, in particular, I can't remember if it was Sri Lanka or Myanmar, of being taken into inner temple grounds, and they're all gold. They're all gold. I actually have another story about that. Wasn't this one, but you walk and you can just feel it. You know how you can feel when you enter a field of loving kindness and just people have been practicing. My short story is, as I also remember being on Vulture Peak as part of the pilgrimage, and Vulture Peak is where Buddha gave lots of his talks, and now it's in Bihar, which is the most poor and one of the most rough areas of India. And so there are all kinds of people when you do the pilgrimage up that are harassing you. I mean, people are poor, but this is more, I mean, it's very difficult. But it's also a pilgrimage and it's really wonderful. But I really remember part of the experience was, and I think it was people from Myanmar, is they had gold leaf because that was the experience of their temples. And they said, come on over here. And they had taken a little rock and they had gold leaf and they were gold leafing the rock. And they said, here, do this. And so we just gold leafed the rock with them and everything was perfectly fine. You know, it's like whatever your practice is. 4, habit. 7. If we contemplate something once, we get a taste, but it isn't enough to make it a habit. To make metta an automatic response like breathing or blinking, put the fruit of your meditation into action, whether someone sees you doing it or not, whether anyone appreciates you for doing it or not. And 8, this is the last one. Yes, practicing well. Greed and hatred are the roots of all suffering. We practice metta to overcome suffering. We must practice well to fully reach this place. How do we practice well? Start the day with loving thoughts. As soon as you wake up in the morning, remember that you want to live a healthy and peaceful life. What you do early in the morning has an impact on your mind the rest of the day. Be friendly with yourself. Be warm. Be loving and kind. Don't cause yourself harm in thought, word, or deed, and forgive those who have offended you. And then he says, all 8 steps of practice must be lived and acted, practiced mentally, verbally, and physically every day, not just while sitting in meditation or reciting the Metta Sutta. When metta is infused in your actions, the 8 steps of practice are present in each moment, and your life will go more smoothly and more honestly, and people will feel it. Okay, so let's do, let's sit and I'm gonna share some of his words as he takes us through the loving kindness meditation. Begin the practice of cultivating love for ourselves. The Buddha said, having traveled all quarters with the mind, one finds none anywhere dearer than oneself. Likewise, each person holds himself or herself most dear. Hence, one who loves themselves will not harm others. So first and foremost, offer metta to yourself. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to me. May no difficulties come to me. May no problems come to me. May I always meet with success. May I also have patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties, problems, and failures in life. May my mind be filled with the thought of loving friendliness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity. May I be generous. May I be gentle. May I be grateful. May I be relaxed. May I be happy and peaceful. May I be healthy. May my heart become tender. And may my words be pleasing to others. May all that I see, hear, smell, taste, and touch and think help me cultivate loving friendliness, compassion, appreciative joy, equanimity, generosity, and gentleness. May my behavior be friendly, and my loving friendliness be a source of peace and happiness. May my behavior help my personality. May I be free from fear, anxiety, worry, and restlessness. Wherever I go, may I meet people with happiness and peace and friendliness. And may I be protected in all directions from greed, anger, aversion, hatred, jealousy, and fear. Do metta for a loved one. Call to mind a parent, teacher, a benefactor, a relative, a partner, a child, friend. And with that person in your heart and mind, may my loved one be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May no problems come to them. And may they always meet with success. May they also have patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties, problems, and failures in life. May my loved one's mind be filled with the thought of loving friendliness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity. May they be generous. May they be gentle. May they be grateful. May they be relaxed. May they be happy and peaceful. May they be healthy. May their hearts become soft, and may their words be pleasing to others. May all that my loved ones see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and think help them cultivate loving friendliness, compassion, appreciative joy, equanimity, generosity, and gentleness. May their behavior be friendly and their loving friendliness be a source of peace and happiness. And may this behavior help their personalities. May they be free from fear, tension, anxiety, worry, and restlessness. Wherever they go in the world, may they meet people with happiness, peace, and friendliness. And may they be protected in all directions from greed, anger, aversion, hatred, jealousy, and fear. The largest category of beings is those we don't have strong feelings for one way or the other. They could be described as neutral people. People we don't usually think about at all. May all neutral persons be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May no problems come to them. May they always meet with success. May they also have patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties, problems, and failures in life. May all neutral persons' minds be filled with the thought of loving friendliness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity. May they be generous. May they be gentle. May they be grateful. May they be relaxed. May they be happy and peaceful. May they be healthy. May their hearts become soft. May their words be pleasing to others. May everything that all neutral persons see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and think help them to cultivate loving friendliness, compassion, appreciative joy, equanimity, generosity, and gentleness. And may their behavior be friendly and their loving friendliness be a source of peace and happiness. May this behavior help their personalities. And may all of them be free from fear, tension, anxiety, worry, and restlessness. Wherever they go in the world, may they meet people with happiness, peace, and friendliness. And may they be protected in all directions from greed, anger, aversion, hatred, jealousy, and fear. Fourth category of those to whom we send our love is adversaries, those we have conflicts with or feelings of ill will toward. Why send loving friendliness to your enemies? The reason is simple. If your enemies are well, happy, and peaceful, they won't be your enemies. If they are free from problems, pain, suffering, affliction, neurosis, psychosis, paranoia, fear, tension, or anxiety, they won't cause you harm. Sending loving friendliness to your enemies is a practical exercise. If you can help them overcome their problems simply by sending them love, you both can live in peace and happiness. You can put in whoever you want, but we can just use the language, may my enemies be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May no problems come to them. May they always meet with success. May they also have patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties, problems, and failures in life. May all unfriendly persons' minds be filled with the thought of loving friendliness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity. May they be generous. May they be gentle. May they be grateful. May they be relaxed. May they be happy and peaceful. May they be healthy. May their hearts become soft, and may their words be pleasing to others. May everything that all unfriendly persons see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and think help them to cultivate loving friendliness, compassion, appreciative joy, equanimity, generosity, and gentleness. May their behavior be friendly and their loving friendliness be a source of peace and happiness. May this behavior help their personalities. May all of them be free from fear, tension, anxiety, worry, and restlessness. And wherever they go in the world, may they meet people with happiness, peace, and friendliness. May they be protected in all directions from greed, anger, aversion, hatred, jealousy, and fear. Lastly, now envision the whole universe, the earth, stars, everything you've ever experienced or thought, every being you've ever met, and all those you will never meet, and breathe calmly and allow rising friendliness to arise within you. May all beings be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May no problems come to them. May they always meet with success. May they also have patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties, problems, and failures in life. May all beings' minds be filled with the thought of loving friendliness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity. May they be generous. May they be gentle. May they be grateful. May they be relaxed, and may they be happy and peaceful. May they be healthy. May their hearts become soft, and may their words be pleasing to others. May everything that all beings see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and think help them to cultivate loving friendliness, compassion, appreciative joy, equanimity, generosity, and gentleness. May their behavior be friendly, and their loving friendliness be a source of peace and happiness. May this behavior help their personalities. May all of them be free from fear, tension, anxiety, worry, and restlessness. And wherever they go in the world, may they meet people with happiness, peace, and friendliness. May they be protected in all directions from greed, anger, aversion, hatred, jealousy, and fear. Just as the universe is endless, this practice is boundless, all encompassing. You cannot say, I have a small degree of metta for small beings and a big dose of metta for elephants and whales. I have low grade metta for my adversaries and high grade metta for my family and friends. Love does not recognize these kinds of differences. In metta, all qualities and quantities are alike. Let your loving friendliness penetrate your own heart and the hearts of all beings. Just have a few minutes, but why don't you turn to somebody next to you and I'll put you guys in small groups here. We've got just a few minutes. What was